Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Aged in Geek. Grab a glass and let the geekery begin, because today we dive into the DC universe, not the Dwight Couch universe. That's right, with the DC universe, the home of Superman, Batman, and many, many more. And we're going to rank our favorite characters and crafting our very own Aged in Geek Mount Rushmore. We'll also talk about James Gunn's bold new multiverse plans and what releasing everything in timeline order could mean for the future of DC and other franchises. So stay tuned for Aged in Geek.
So stay tuned.
Oh shit!
My volume was...
stay tuned for
John. How have you been? Look, we're here another week in a row.
I know
It's a miracle.
I know it.
Right? It's like this is a regular thing now or something.
I know it. Well, Dwight, I wish I could say I was doing better. I mean, I've got some crud, so I may have to cough uncontrollably at points during this show. Might pop some cough drops in. Yep, and work's been rough the past couple weeks. I'm looking forward to a vacation that I have coming up. That will be lovely.
So, you got a vacation good over anywhere exciting?
Oh wait, it's kind of become like a road trip. Our initial plans, we have a timeshare, so we were going to our timeshare place in New Jersey up there, and then we started looking, we're like, well, we're only like an hour or so from Philly, and then we're only like less than 2 hours from New York City, and we're like 15 minutes from Atlantic City. Like, we can go around. And then we just decided today we are going to book a hotel on the way up in Baltimore. So I'm going to get to see some cool Raven stuff while I'm up there. Some cool Edgar Allan Poe stuff.
Have you all ever been up to the Northeast before? Well, obviously, do you go to New Jersey fairly often?
No, this is the first time we're going, but I have a bunch of family from New York, so I used to go there every summer.
Oh yeah, I knew that. I like that area. We've wound up in Philly accidentally, not like intending to go there multiple times, like three times or something. And we've been to New York once, which was fantastic. But for as bad of a rap as Philly gets, I really like Philadelphia.
That's cool. Heck yeah. Go Philly.
There are a lot of I'm sorry, I don't know what the hell's going on in the other room. So anyways, a lot of good places to eat in Philly. You got Geno's and Pat's, number one. But if you want a really good Philly cheesesteak, little hint for you, there's a old subway terminal that they turned into like a food court mall. Go in there and go to the middle of it. There's a blue banner that says Philly cheesesteaks on it. Go get their Philly cheesesteak. That's really good.
Dang. Heck yeah.
Yeah, but we did the whole Niagara. We did a road trip up through Maine one year, and it was really cool. And got to go to Vermont while the leaves were changing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
How was your week, Dwight?
It was good. It was busy, man. We're busy at work. It's end of the month, into the spring, going into summer. So everyone's trying to get out and get them a new whip before the summer gets here. So we've been extremely busy.
Holiday week.
Yes.
You don't even know what holiday it was, do you?
It's Memorial Day. No, I do know. It is Memorial Day.
You're just like holiday.
It's the stress from how many Memorial Day weekends I've spent on a car lot.
There you go.
Because I was there an extra day this week. I swear I keep hearing screaming, and I don't know where.
Oh, that's probably coming from my house. I have.
Oh, okay, good, because I'm looking around my room
like.
And it's not Ava. I hear her.
Yeah, my kids are buck wild.
Oh, they get plenty of sugar. Are they out of school yet?
Yeah. Last week was their last week.
I did pick up
Ooh, there you go.
It was the same. It's Soldiers, and they had it like half price at Kroger tonight. But it's a bourbon. I think it's made by like veterans. Speaking of Memorial Day,
That's pretty cool.
it's brewed and everything. I think from veterans or soldiers, and it's a small batch. Normally like $95, and it was like half price at Kroger. Got a really cool bottle. Got like a metal label on it, so it's really pretty sweet looking bottle. So pick that up. That's not bad. It's pretty stout.
But,
But
like a soldier likes.
yes, what a soldier would like right before they ship off. Yeah, so no, the screaming. I'm done screwed up from the screaming's got me. Anyway,
Maybe
so
your house. Maybe wait. Maybe your house is just haunted, Dwight.
yeah, well, that's what I was beginning to think, John. So we are going to get into some DC action. I've got everything shared across on social media, so we should be good there. Let me pull the outline back up. And all right, John, every once in a while, every once in a blue moon, we'll get some emails from the viewers.
That's what I'm talking about.
So we'll get whatever our topic is once we put it out there on social media. We'll get a couple responses, and the topic of the new DC universe is quite the buzz, as kids would be saying nowadays. Quite the buzz.
Uh-oh.
Sure, that's not at all what kids are saying these days, but we're gonna get into that.
It's probably Skibbity Toilet Riz or something.
It's probably like some skibbity toilet hot takes right here on Age.
Nailed it.
Yes, I'm positive I used it exactly right.
I mean, if not, it's going to be a thing. We started it here on Age to Geek.
True. It's what is it like? I forgot what it's like when it's really good. They call it something that's ridiculous. That means something else for someone my age.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if it's
slaps.
alpha or something. Now, see, I think we used that in the 90s.
Yeah, we have.
I think that was the thing. So, anyways, viewer submitted hot takes. I got 5 of the best hot takes for the DC universe out of our mailbag. So we're going to jump right in. And the first one comes from Mike from Chicago, Illinois. He says, I think Batman's no-kill rule is overrated. He'd be far more effective if he just took out the Joker, period.
I mean, he's got a point, but at the same time, that's his whole thing. I mean, you can't go against who you are, against your morals. I mean, he's not wrong. The person who emailed the question is not wrong, but that would kind of defeat the purpose. It would make it less interesting. You know, you got to think in Batman, it's like a detective, like comic type of deal. So I don't know if it was originally intended just to be straight up like detective mystery or not, but I mean, this is putting people in jail and street level criminals. Like, there's a lot of street level criminals in Batman. You don't have no dark sides or, you know, stuff like that. Crazy villains in Batman. You may have some like souped up ones slightly, but nothing that the old baddie can't handle.
I agree with that. I like Batman villains because they are kind of that street level. Mike does have an extremely good point. If you did, but you got so many other people you have to contend with. If it wasn't the Joker, then maybe it's someone else, maybe the Penguin or the Riddler. He would create a vortex or a vacuum, if they'd done that. And you might put someone else who's far worse in the end in power.
It's true. And I mean,
Middle East.
Now, I will pose this question. I'm gonna send the question back to the listener.
Oh, are you ready, Mike? Chicago, bringing it.
Oh yeah, bring it. So let me ask you this: does his rule apply to non-human? I mean, I can understand if it's like Superman, where he's kind of humanist or human-like, I guess. But what about like a dark side or like what's that crazy one's name? The Superman villain, the big monstrous. Good Lord, can't remember his name. But anyways, like these big monstrous characters that are alien. You know, I mean, can Batman kill them? You'd think that's the only way around it. You're not going to put one of them in jail. Their power scale's like. You'd think if Batman had to step up and do something, he would, you know.
Right. Yeah, I would assume it's going to come from a human moral, but then you got somebody like the Croc who kind of border, you know, where do you draw the line between what's an animal and what's a human? Because then you just get into size.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I can't. I have to kill you because you're too big. Can't fit into the jail.
Yeah. And I mean, there's that one episode of Batman where he peeled out of the Batcave in his Batmobile and he accidentally hit a bunny and he had to get out on his knees and cry for 30 minutes. The bank done got robbed. I mean, they were long gone. But you know, that happens. He's sensitive to all life, all living creatures, okay?
But he's very in touch. He's very in touch.
Yes.
All right. So our next hot take comes from Sarah from Seattle, Washington. I agree. Superman is too perfect. I think that's what I personally dislike about him. But she goes on, he needs a dark secret to make the character more interesting. What do you think about Superman having some skeletons in his closet?
I mean, I'm going to tread very carefully here because there's several things I want to say.
These are spicy takes, John. So,
well, I don't, and maybe I'm wrong. You know, I can't read people that great. I don't guess, but like, I'm no car salesman. But you know, just off first glance of what I know of Superman, he just doesn't seem like pegging was in his past anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, what type of skeletons will this? I mean, did he like? Actually, there is a movie. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Brightburn. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So this movie, I think, came out in like the mid 2000s, maybe 10, 11, something like that. I haven't watched it, but everybody who I've talked to is super into, you know, stuff like us, you know, they say it's a really good movie, but it's a reimagining of Superman's story. He comes to Earth and all that, but he's evil. And the Kents find out right away that he's not a normal child. And it's like a horror movie. You know, all the suspenseful violins and stuff. Like, and he's like murdering people and destroying things. Like and it shows him as he grows up how much more dark he gets as he ages until eventually he just loses control completely. But, I mean, I could see something like that. Maybe like, but I would think if you're thinking of Superman traditionally, the skeletons he would have would be not of his own free will. Like if Lex Luthor mind controlled him or something and he hurt people. You know what I mean? Something like that. I just, again, it's kind of like my point with Batman. That's just how the character is. He was meant to represent America. You know what I mean? Like he's Captain America before Captain America. You know what I mean? So like he just has this good, wholesome American boy image. You know what I mean? Like you can't tarnish it or else it ruins character.
And, you know, I guess if as deep as I guess they could technically go would be something like they did with Batman, where he kind of loses it and he beats somebody so closely to death, you know, because when Batman beat the Joker after he killed Robin in the last Joker or whatever it was, and, you know, he got so close to just beating him to death. And then he felt so much remorse. I don't know that there could be any more than that to a Superman. You know, like he almost crossed the line and gave in to his anger, you know.
Well, like I'm pretty sure he's had moments like that. I know for a fact he's had moments like that in Smallville, which viewers, listeners, if you haven't seen Smallville, that in my opinion is the best Superman there is out there. Like, I don't know. I like how in touch you get with the past of Superman. It's actually not about Superman at all. Like, not one episode, I don't think. Maybe, like, the last episode slightly. But no episode's about Superman. It's about Clark Kent and his journey into becoming Superman. But he had several moments like that where he was trying to understand himself and understand his abilities and understand how he I would view it as similar to people who are minorities. You know what I mean? Like, he's trying to figure out his place in the world because he knows he's different. You know what I mean? So it's really good, but he loses himself sometimes, you know? I mean, you can imagine teenagers, all the emotions they go through and stuff. Like, teenage Superman, you know? But what makes Superman Superman is, even though he might have done something wrong, it's like that last punch that would have like took it too far, he always stops himself. You know what I mean? He always the conscious, you know, or conscience rather. But
all right. So our next one comes from Tony from Austin, Texas. Wonder Woman should ditch the Amazons and join the villains for a real challenge. Wonder Woman making the heel turn and joining the dark side. What do you think about that?
That would be interesting. I don't know if they have or not, but I would be surprised if they hadn't done like a what if or something on that, something to that degree. But yeah, like there's nothing more badass than a badass chick. You know what I mean? Like villain, you know, like I think that's cool. Like Scarlet Witch, when she goes crazy, you know, it's badass. We've seen like the imaginings of Rey and Leia and characters like that as Sith, and it's badass. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's just something cool about it. You know, throw on some black clothes, you know, and have an attitude, and it's pretty cool.
So that brings in a bigger question. When you look at the DC universe and you kind of set on who your main characters, you know, are the ones they build around. You know, it's Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Those are your three big movie franchises. They're going to be kind of the corner pillars of your multiverse, as far as on the hero side. If Wonder Woman was to turn bad, would the bad guys win more often? I mean, would she? I mean, you got to think she's a very more formidable foe for Superman or Batman than any of the villains would be, right?
It's hard to imagine because she hasn't been a bad guy, but I would assume she would still think the same way as most of the bad guys. See, the thing that makes the villain so villainous is they don't care. Like, heroes have weaknesses, they have hearts, they have consciences. When they're in a fight, they're not only thinking about themselves in the fight, they're thinking about the innocent bystanders who might get hurt, you know, things like that. Villains don't care. Collateral damage. They'll intentionally hurt people. They won't lose a wink of sleep. And half of them, especially when you start thinking about the crazy ass Batman villains, like they don't care if they die either. You know, when you're facing somebody who doesn't even value their own life, that makes them a danger, a threat. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if Wonder Woman had that same edge, then yeah, I'd say she could be, but I don't think it would turn the tides that much because I've seen the Justice League movie and I saw what happened when the Flash and Cyborg and Wonder Woman and Batman all tried to fight Superman. I saw what happened, and it wasn't even, I mean, he took all four of them down like it was nothing. Like, not even, and maybe Aquaman was there too. I can't remember, but
I think
like
so.
just disposed of them. That one of the best scenes though in that movie is when the Flash is running by and he's like, "Oh, I got him," and the Superman just goes, and he's like, "He can follow my movements." Like, oh shit, you know. But yeah, I don't think it would make a difference. It would be cool though. She could be like Sandy from Grease, just put on the leather. You know what I mean?
Oh right, yeah, she's got chills. And they're multiplying.
It's electrifying. I mean,
speaking of the Flash and electrifying, Lisa from Denver, Colorado, the Flash is the most overpowered hero, and the DC universe should slow him down or kill him off.
Well, in the comic books, actually, the only Flash, in my opinion, I don't like when the sidekicks take the mantle. It's just not the same. I've already said it on here multiple times. I don't like the Falcon becoming Captain America. I don't like Wally West becoming the Flash. I don't like Hal Jordan, or not Hal Jordan, but the other guy becoming Green Lantern. Like, it just, I want him to be like Superman and Bruce Wayne, like just be that character. You know what I mean? Right. I mean, I understand if there's different universes, different reimaginings, that's fine. But I think superheroes should just be the superhero. And were we talking about the Flash? Is that what I was talking about?
Yes, the Flash is the most overpowered hero, and DC should write him off screen.
So Barry Allen, actually in the comics, he gets to a point where he has to break through time barriers or something crazy, but he actually gets stuck in the time force. And it's pretty messed up because time doesn't really exist in there like it does out here. So he's not allowed to leave to keep the time wraiths or something like that with him. And I'm sure I'm leaving stuff out. It's been a long time since I've done this. But anyways, he gets trapped in the time force and he can't leave. So he's doomed for eternity just to keep outrunning. You know what I mean? I don't know if like he'll eventually just give out or what would happen, but that's kind of what his fate is in that comic line. So can you say the question one more time just so I'll be sure I nail that?
Yeah. Yes, the Flash is the most overpowered hero.
Okay.
And DC should slow him down or kill him off.
So I wonder exactly what the listener means by overpowered. Does she mean like strength or speed or those kind of abilities? Or does she mean the ability to alter timelines and like kind of the more in-depth stuff?
I would venture to say if it was probably the timelines, because technically some of the writers have always said the Flash is really the only one that could beat Superman because he could do so much to change existence and everything, therefore making him technically the most powerful superhero. I would have to venture that because if it's just fast, I don't think that's quite as overpowered as many other heroes and villains.
Yeah, you have certain characters that have these abilities to do crazy things like Doctor Strange and Marvel. But first of all, the Flash is responsible enough not to, abuse his powers. If you watch the Flash series on the CW or whatever from the Arrowverse, he has his trials and tribulations with that, and I've seen him turn down changing things even for a loved one. You know what I mean? Because he knows the consequences of that could outweigh the loved one coming back. Because there's been times where he's messed up and done something and it's had negative consequences. Plus, there's all kinds of checks and balances that unless you get really deep into the Flash, you don't really realize. Like, there's like time police and time wraiths and like other speedsters even trying to undo things you've done or trying to beat you to the punch to this or that or change something different that messes up what you changed. Like, there's a bunch of stuff like that. So I almost feel like it's good that somebody has that power because there's a lot going on there that nobody who kind of can get in those realms and stuff know about,
All right. And so our next one, Carlos from Portland, Oregon. James Gunn's timeline order plan will flop. It's too rigid, and the fans hate being told how to watch.
I know I'm having you do this a lot, but I'm trying to take it in. Will you say that one more time?
All right. Carlos from Portland, Oregon. Mm-hmm. James Gunn's timeline order plan will flop. His timeline order plan, and we'll get right into this off the back of this question. He says it's too rigid and fans hate being told how to watch.
Well, without getting too far into this, because I think this is one of our kind of things we're going to get into here in a minute. There's a lot of pushback on it. And there's no way to really know until it happens. There's been several times with things that were near and dear to my heart. I've been like, what are they doing? Like, why would they do that? But then it happens. You watch it or listen to it or whatever the case may be. And you're like, and it works, whatever way. I don't know if that'll be the case for this. I might be leaning towards no, but we're not going to know until it happens. So
I'm going to go with it. This is the first time. That's the absolute first time I've ever been excited for a Superman movie. I like what I've seen in it. I like James Gunn. So let me preference it with there. I'm going to be biased. I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy so much that I have full faith that James Gunn can helm and do this with the DC universe. I am so hungry for someone to take control of the DC universe and put it all together in a consistent line that actually mirrors movies we want to see, because there's a lot of really cool things they could tell. And no one's ever done that outside of maybe Tim Burton with the first Batman series. And then who did who's the one that done the Dark Knight Rises? With Christian Bale. Nolan? Is it Christopher Nolan?
I think it was, yeah.
Okay. What he did in the Dark Knight saga was really good. But outside of that, there's never been anything that matches what Marvel did or what Marvel does. Yeah. I'm worried in a sense, if it gets screwed up, it's because if he's going to release in timeline order, you might have a run of 4 or 5 movies that nobody cares about, because there's going to be characters like Ant-Man in Marvel who are going to have to get a movie to progress the storyline. And is anybody going to care? Let's just randomly taking a flip out of the DC book. Is anyone going to care about a story that features the Mad Hatter or Man-Bat?
Mad Hatter would probably be cool, actually. Man-Bat.
Yeah, okay. That's okay.
Because they could do like a horror movie on that. That would be sweet.
Power Girl.
Nah, I wouldn't.
Is that going to be a big blockbuster for the summer? Or
is Mad Hatter?
Tempest. That's something that we would probably have to have a movie that might not get there. On the flip side, you're right.
Yeah.
The Mad Hatter would make a really good. He was an awesome villain in the 60s Batman show. He would make a great villain for him today, because they could do a lot of twisted stuff. With him, that would be really cool.
Yep.
So I worry about that. If you're going straight in the timeline, are you going to get into a drought where people don't care? Is it going to be harder to keep people involved instead of being like, hey, one Avengers movie every year? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's going to deter people. Like, I think Marvel actually started putting too much out too quickly, because like you miss a movie and you don't get around to watching it, then another one comes out and you try to watch it, but you watch half of it and fall asleep, and then you never go back and finish it, and then you're sitting here thinking, well, damn, in order to watch this really cool movie that's coming out that I'm pretty interested in, I've now got to go back and watch 3 films to be sure I know everything I need to know, because they're all pieces. They all come together. And then you're just like, maybe I don't even care to watch this other movie. I've been deterred watching movies for that reason, just because maybe something comes out. Like, I've actually heard it's really good, but Craven, I don't really have any interest in that character. Everybody says it's good, but I still haven't watched it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of how it is. I fell out of X-Men when they did First Class. And although I've heard several of the movies after that were really good, or maybe it was Days of Future Past. It was one of those. But
Days of Future Past is really good.
Well, maybe it was the other one that I can't remember, but whichever one it was, I fell out of it, and then I just never watched any more of them after that, when I loved all the ones before it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just kind of like that.
Also, now on the note for pro timeline, you reduce the amount of recasting. You're not going back to tell stories, so you don't have to. Well, we got to find someone to play a younger them, and then it misses.
Yeah.
You can keep advancing. But here's the real question: we talked about the Flash. How long can you keep that going before you got to mess it up? Eventually, you're going to get to a point in any comic book series, it seems like, where there's going to be some jerking around of the time. How long can you do that before you have to go back and start? And then will it be too hard to undo?
I mean, I could see him doing like flashbacks, but like taking stuff from other films and like doing like a reimagining of it, and then like it didn't actually happen that way because the Flash went back and did something. You know what I mean? Like the reason it happened the way that we saw it happen in the movie from 2 years ago is because in this movie the Flash had went back and did this.
Right.
I don't know.
And that takes a pretty good, not saying that James Gunn can't do it, but that takes a pretty good mind to be able to keep all those dots connected without the internet community completely grabbing hold of it and quickly choking the life out of you.
I will tell you, I can't remember. At one point I knew, but the guy who does all the Arrowverse shows and stuff. But those are so masterfully done, man. Like some people told me they've never watched any of those. You might be one of them. I don't know, but
I've never watched it.
It's just so good. Like it's one of those too. You have to be dedicated to all the shows because when they come in, then you got to start watching them in orders between shows because every season they have a crossover where all of them come together to fight a big bad. And all their stories intertwine and mingle. There's crossover episodes where like this one will be in this show or that one will be in that show. Like, but it all flowed perfect. Nobody messed anything up. Like it was awesome.
I've heard a lot of good things about DC's TV shows. Their movies have always been very missed, but
in my mind, Marvel owns movies and DC owns shows. Now, some of the later Marvel shows have been a lot better, but all time, I have to give the shows to DC.
All right, so we wish James Gunn all the luck. I'm very, very excited to see what he's going to do with the DC universe. The Superman movie looks amazing. It looks really good. The new trailers released a couple weeks ago. They're fun. It shows a human side to Clark Kent or Superman when he's getting interviewed by Lois Lane. It looks like they might have popped the cap a little early on her knowing that he's both Superman and Clark Kent. But let's be honest, a pair of glasses, I mean, come on, most people are going to put that together.
Yeah, you would think so. That's terrible disguise.
It is. It's a horrible disguise. It's like,
oh, don't forget the curl. You got to get the curl.
Oh yeah. Hey, John, I'm your new host.
Hey, where'd Dwight go? Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, there we are.
Who was that other guy?
I have no idea. He just popped in here. I had to kick his ass out.
He looked weird.
Right? God, no wearing glasses, son of a bitch. So let's talk about a few odd facts and some not really DC trivia, but we're going to talk about some strange happenings that the viewers out there might not know about the DC universe before we get into our main topic tonight. So we got a few, 1, 2, 3, about 7 or 8 little things here that you might not have known about the DC universe. John, did you know that Lex Luthor originally had ginger hair before becoming the bald villain we know today?
I actually did, because that was part of Smallville. You've seen.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So there you go. Reasons to watch Smallville. So how did he lose his hair?
I don't remember. That show came out in like the early 2000s. But I remember seeing him with the red hair.
It was early male pattern baldness.
Yeah.
All right. So number 2 that you may or may not know about the DC universe. Harley Quinn was first created for Batman, the animated series, and wasn't in comics until her TV debut actually took off.
I did not know that. So in the 90s animated series, that's where she was created.
That was where Harley Quinn. Joker, and I don't know if this is in here or not. I don't think so. But Joker originally had a sidekick back in the 60s in the comics, 60s or 70s, called Gaggy, but it was a male sidekick that Joker and then Gag. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, there is a harmless form of kryptonite, John. Did you know this?
Possibly. I don't know if it's kryptonite or not, but there's different colored stones that affect Superman differently.
All right, so there's a harmless form of kryptonite. It is called Krypton steel that only Superman can break.
Huh. Now, can he break it when he's on Krypton, or does he have to be on Earth with the yellow sun?
It does not go that in depth. That is a did you know for another show. Here's one that we did know. We learned this way back in December on our Christmas special when we were talking about Jolly Saint Nick, because we know that Santa Claus is alive and well in the DC universe, and my dogs are just barging in the door. My littlest dog just came in and kicked my door open.
Let the dogs in.
Santa Claus is a real character in DC, and he gives Darkseid coal every year.
Yeah, take that, Darkseid. How you like them apples?
No nice list for you, sir. Always on the naughty.
You might as well just rename the list the Darkseid.
They have cookies. Amazonians and Kryptonians can survive the crushing pressure at the bottom of the ocean.
I would assumed Kryptonians, but that's interesting to know about Amazonians. Amazons?
Mm-hmm.
Phony Balonians?
That's how I read it. Let's see. Oh, here's one. I didn't know this. Clark Kent exists in the Marvel universe, but without powers.
I did not know that. Now, is it same character, or is it just a guy they named Clark Kent that's not at all the same?
Let's see. Yep, here we go. Clark Kent, Earth 616. He's a mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper. So it seems to be a very similar character. He looks the same. Blue suit, red tie. He is often seen with his colleagues and a lady friend named Lois.
Oh, no
the
way.
Character is a homage. They probably can't do that. It's just Lois.
Yeah.
It's like Cher, but, Lois.
Well, hell, they named him Clark Kent. Why wouldn't they do Lois Lane?
There's a secret cameo of Superman in a group shot of the final page of The Death of Captain Marvel #1, identified by unique hairstyle, boots, and cape. Future reprints have edited him out of this classic image. It is unknown whether Superman and Clark were meant to be the same character in the universe. And then there was another homage in 1940. So it was Marvel paying respects to Superman a couple times. So that's pretty cool.
Correct me if I'm wrong. When you were talking about that, it made me think about this. So the original Captain Marvel that Marvel created was taken by DC because it was too much of a likeness to Superman. I think they named that character Shazam. And then Marvel created a new Captain Marvel that was the lady version.
Let's see. So that did. Oops. So that did pull up. Let's see. I'm showing the captain. Oh yeah, no, Shazam is the real Captain Marvel. In 1939, Marvel just copied DC because, yeah. So that's how Captain Marvel became a girl.
Yeah.
Interesting. And
Did you know?
supposedly Shazam's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it.
I've seen the first one. I think there's a second one now.
I think there is. Oh. Sorry, I knocked over my phone and now
You don't know what to do.
I don't. I'm all lost.
With...
Where am I supposed to go next? Oh, let's see. All right.
Habba Zabba, use my only friend.
All right. So Clark Kent. Okay. There's a character called Joker's daughter who isn't actually the Joker's kid.
Why? I mean, why?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. The Joker's always. I do like the way he's portrayed in most everything as being more. He's more of a mindset that gets passed around than a villain. You know, you have the physical Joker, but he's so limited on that he's just a man. There's nothing overly special about him or anything like that, but he's like an influencer. He's like a social media influencer. He's like Mr. Beast, except not as charitable.
That makes sense.
He would have Joker bars on the shelves at Kroger and Walmart.
He probably would.
And people would eat them.
I would eat them.
Because the 60s Batman, he was always doing stuff like that. Like people like, oh, look, the Joker's got new flowers out. Let's go smell them. And then they would be possessed by some kind of hypnotic mist that came out of it.
Hate when that happens.
Right? Just can't have good flowers nowadays. All right. So DC once had to scrap a romantic storyline because a fan suggested the same pairing. Now, I have heard of this, and I forget.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that. That's interesting. I'm curious who it is.
Let's see.
Or if it never existed, so we don't know.
Well, anyways, we'll have to look at that one up and find out who that is.
How do you look up something that never existed?
It's the Mandela effect of the DC universe.
Exactly.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go, and then you don't say anything.
Yeah, no, that was the wrong article. I'm getting a lot of ceiling fans when I just type in.
How come every time I type in DC,
it wasn't Batman and Catwoman.
They did have a romantic relationship.
They did, yes. That was.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I know I had it up here.
I know you did too. I believe in you, Dwight.
I got it right here, folks. Just hang tight.
Just remember, folks. Yeah, while Dwight's searching, just know he appreciates you.
We appreciate you appreciating us.
Exactly. Quick side note, Dwight, that I just wanted to share. It's not going to be long. So Scott Medberry has released the first part of the 12th book.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Have you read any of that?
Yeah, I've read it with my ears, but on YouTube. But it's a little over an hour long, this first part. But it's good. It's real good. Picks up right where it left off. Everything's great. You did know it came out with like a mini series in between, right? It was called, hold on, I'll tell you what it was called. It was called Blackout Nation. But it was like kind of like a 4-part mini series or something like that. It's pretty good too.
Interesting. All right. So, anyways, I can't find this. So, Blackout is a miniseries in between. Is it where the last one left off, or?
So, Blackout doesn't have to do. It's like its own story. They kind of like created like a little mini series just to kind of hold people over, but it's good for what it is. It's kind of so you get with America Falls, you get like the Chinese coming in and the whatever that crazy flu was called. And then the Pyong, or yeah, you're right. And then with Rabbit's H, you get like the rabies infected dogs. Well, this Blackout Nation, it's like EMP, and crap goes crazy. But it's all post-apocalyptic. Yeah.
Very good. All right, so I can't find anything on that, so we'll just leave it to your imaginations.
Yes.
Who you would like to have in a relationship that fans ruined. I like
Batman and Robin. Oh, wait.
And thank goodness fans ruined it. All right. So the last, did you know, John, that the Green Arrow makes the hottest chili in the DC universe?
Did not know that. Why is this?
I have no idea, but now you know. And knowing's half the battle.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother show in itself.
What was that saying that always came on like in those commercials back in the 80s, and it had the star that shot across the top of the screen, the more you know, or something like that. Like,
yeah,
it was something like that. That's we need to have that after we say stuff.
SpongeBob. Imagination. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's show. We are going to talk about our favorite DC heroes and our favorite DC villains. We're going to start out with the heroes. I personally think this was the harder subject to broach. John has a laundry list full of. So I'm going to let John go first, and then I will get into my top 5 heroes, and then we'll make a consensuable list.
We going 5-1?
5-1. That sounds fantastic.
We rotating?
You can go with your 5 first.
Okay.
That way maybe I can get some ideas.
Well, actually, like I was saying before, I have 2 that are like so neck and neck, and they're my honorable mentions. So I'm going to say them because I think these characters are very well written, developed, and they play big roles and have important stories. That is Martian Manhunter and Swamp Thing. Love those characters. Great characters. But number 5 on my list is the Green Lantern. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's capable of. Like we had that question from the listener before about Flash. Like, his power is literally infinite. Like, it's all based on will. So if he can will it, there's infinite possibilities of what he can do. So, I mean, you got to think, I don't know what level of will it would take or what you would have to do, but he's got to be capable of doing things like Thanos' Time Stone. You know what I mean? Like, if he could will it. But, so, yeah, shout out to Hal Jordan. Go Green Lantern. Lantern Corps. Brothers. Coming in at number 4 on my list. Very possibly maybe the most powerful superhero there is. In all honesty, Dr. Manhattan. He was originally from Dark Horse Comics, but DC has got them now. So, he's practically like God. I mean, like, he doesn't have to have any time stones to snap his finger and wipe existence out. Like, He can literally blink and travel in time, travel from any destination, teleport. Like, he can do anything he wants without moving a finger. Like, that's pretty powerful. It's pretty badass. I watched, what was that movie called? Was it The Watchmen? That had Rorschach and Dr. Manhattan. Really good movie from back in the day, but that was my first exposure to Dr. Manhattan when I was a kid. Awesome character. Number 3 on my list, the one and only John Constantine. I mean, badass character.
Yes.
Badass character. Like, his story, his personality. I mean, I know he's kind of like a drunk bum, but it works for him. You know what I mean? Like, Superman's the golden boy, John Constantine's the mess, but it works for him. Great character, and he's actually very super powerful himself. My top 2 are near and dear to my heart because I'm such a huge fan of the Arrowverse. Number 2 is The Flash. Watching all of The Flash, there's several seasons, like, you grow very attached to The Flash. You get a deep level of understanding of The Flash and why he is the way he is, his trials and tributes and everything he's had to lose, and it makes you respect the character. He's probably, I mean, I know Superman's the golden child, but he might be the most noble of all of them. That's why that great power is trusted in his hands. Number 1, Green Arrow. That's probably not number 1 on a lot of people's list. But again, you watch Arrow, like, this man is a human being. He doesn't have superpowers. I watched the Flash come at him, and he fended him off. No superpowers. He relied on his talent, his ability, and his senses, his God-given ability, to be able to stop the Flash and track his movements. Like, what this man is like, this character, out of everything I've seen, and keep in mind, I haven't read comics. I don't know what's canon, not canon, but this man, from what I've seen, has sacrificed more than any superhero. And of all, I know Superman and Batman are the 2 top, but from everything in the Arrowverse, he is the leader. He commands everybody else, and he is the human being of the group. So, I love Green Arrow. If you haven't watched Arrow or Flash from the Arrowverse, like, 2 must-watch shows. And there's also several other shows that are really good. But that's my list.
All right. So my list, Constantine. I'll go ahead and move him back down a couple spots. He'll move into number 5 since you mentioned him. Badass movie. Definitely didn't hurt that Keanu Reeves played him. So I'm really in there. So that was number 5 on my list. Number 4 was going to be Cyborg. I've never really been a big fan of the Teen Titans, but when I have watched it, and this is primarily the cartoon, folks, so back off. But I really like Cyborg's character in the cartoon, and I think he's really cool.
Before we move off that, sorry.
Yes.
Have you watched the live-action Teen Titans show they came out with a few years ago?
I have not.
It's really good.
I've watched very little outside of Batman and DC because there's never been anything that's intrigued me to, like, hey, you need now Batman. I love all Batman. So, but outside of that, not a lot of DC in the household, which hopefully will change moving forward. Number 3, the Blue Beetle. I like the Blue Beetle. Cool design. I like the idea. You know, he's kind of like the Spider-Man of DC in a way. So, you know, I'm really cool with the character. And in the movie was supposed to be really good. I know Ava watched it and she liked it. So really good movie. I think a very underrated character that maybe DC could do a lot more with. Number 2, and I'm going to cross a little bit of a line with this one, but number 2 is going to be Catwoman. Catwoman, yes, an iconic villain, but also very much the anti-hero and does many things, does Selena Kyle, to gain the favor of Batman or just flat out do the right thing, especially when you're looking at like the TV show Gotham. In the TV show Gotham, she was much more of a good character than ever a bad. Just very conflicted with her status in life, looking to where she fit in. And number one, even though I said we weren't going to take him, John, I can't find anyone else. So I'm going to have to throw Batman out there because there's just no other DC characters to put in a fifth spot for me on the hero side. So we're going to throw Batman up there.
That's fair.
And was that the one that would have made your list?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It would have been Batman over Superman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I would. The other two I wouldn't have put on mine either, obviously, because we did. So, John, I will leave you the first pick. Who is our first person? And we'll go back and forth. Each of us getting to throw up on the DC Mount Rushmore
for heroes.
Swamp Thing was really good too.
Yeah, it was.
Didn't even dawn on me.
I mean, I guess I'm going to say this because he is a must-have on the Mount Rushmore for me, just based on my understanding of the character. It's got to be Green Arrow. He has to be up there for me.
All right. I will take the easy route. Obviously, Batman. Batman's super easy.
Okay. I also feel like the Flash has to be up there.
You know what? I'll take one of yours that wasn't one of mine. Let's go with the Green Lantern.
Okay. That's fair. I think that's a solid Mount Rushmore.
That's not bad. We'll forego Superman out of there, but we got Green Lantern, Batman, Flash, and who?
Green Arrow.
Green Arrow.
Yeah. It's half green.
There you have it. The Aged and Geek Mount Rushmore is very green with a hint of black. All right, so let's dive in to the real good stuff about DC, and that's their villains. Now, John, when I was thinking about all this, we could do this one of two ways. Going over the villains in my head, we could make a Mount Rushmore of villains that includes everybody. And then we can make one just as a side quest of just Batman villains. Because I think my entire list is going to be Batman villains.
Every one of mine but one is.
Is it? Is the one that's not Lex Luthor?
No.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I'll start this one, and I'm going to go ahead and put Lex Luthor is so iconic that I'm going to put him as my number 5. He pops on the screen, you know who it is. It's Superman, who is arguably the greatest superhero ever. He is the Michael Jordan of superheroes, and it's his greatest villain. So I would think out of anything else, you'd be very remiss not to have Lex Luthor on the Mount Rushmore of supervillains.
Yeah.
Who's your number 5? We'll bounce back and forth on this one.
Okay. My number 5.
I wasn't ready for the other one.
My number 5 is Lucy. Everybody loves Lucy. Lucifer Morningstar. The devil himself. Just like Santa, the devil's DC too.
Right. Oh, actually, does that make, hold on. No, that was, never mind. Dogma's not. That's a Jay and Silent Bob movie. That's not DC.
Yeah.
I was gonna wait. I was like, wait, does that make God and Alanis Morissette canon DC as well? My number 4 is one of my favorite Batman villains, who has been portrayed really at every step, has been portrayed greatly on the silver screen. Might have been missing one person to play him that would have been fantastic. But it's got to be the Riddler. I can't think of a more classic, iconic Batman villain than the Riddler. Every iteration of him has been fantastic. When you tell somebody that the worst version of the Riddler was Jim Carrey, that's saying a lot, because his version of the Riddler was pretty damn good. It wasn't bad.
It was a little more goofy and eccentric, but I like it.
Yeah, he was very much cut of the same cloth as Frank Gorshin from from the 60s series with the kind of the goofy laugh and everything. And I would have loved to see Robin Williams.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see Robin Williams take on that role.
I think one of my favorite portrayals of the Riddler was from Gotham. Like the Riddler and the Penguin. I think those are two of the best portrayals of that character on Gotham.
Yes, I would wholeheartedly agree with that.
All right. So my number 4 is also very near and dear Batman villain. And I think he's been portrayed pretty well through the years. Scarecrow. I love the whole hallucinating thing. Like, he really gets to Batman, and especially the animated series got to him real good. But like, great character. And I love the characters that just like make the hair on your arm stand up. Like, I'll go ahead and throw out honorable mention, because we talked about him already. But Mad Hatter, he would be up there for me too. I view him very similarly to Scarecrow. I just like Scarecrow a little more.
All right, number 3. My number 3 villain is going to come from the 60s Batman TV show, but I'm going to go with King Tut. King Tut was a college professor of archaeology who kind of got hit on the head and turned into a supervillain who was King Tut resurrected from his sarcophagus and caused havoc in museums all over Gotham, but a lot of fun. And the few episodes he was in were pretty good.
Oh yeah. All right. Number 3 on my list is the Joker.
The Joker out early.
What can you say? He's another one that has been portrayed so well so many times. There's been some not so well times, but for the most part, like, hands down, the Mark Hamill's Joker from the animated series. Like, when I think of the Joker's voice, that's the voice I hear. Hands down, my favorite Joker. But he's like the Mac Daddy of villains. I mean, he's not number 1 on my list of preference, but he's top 3. So, shout out to the Joker.
Easily. I'll dive into the Joker a little bit. The Joker was in my top 2. It was a debate whether he would be at 1 or not. And that's just because, am I going to play favoritism, or am I going to go with probably who's the better all over story arc? But that's another person who every actor that portrayed the Joker was really good. Even when you get down to Jared Leto's performance of the Joker, I think it was very underrated. He played a version of the Joker that's canonically in the timeline is after Batman. We mentioned earlier when Batman lost it and almost beat him to a pulp after he killed Robin. Mm-hmm. That's the Joker that Leto played. And I don't think a lot of people understood where Joker was in a mindset during that formation. I never liked the Joker until Heath Ledger played him. When Heath Ledger played him, I realized what a psychopath and how sadistic the Joker actually was. Mm-hmm. Jack Nicholson's Joker, crime boss, fits right in Gotham. He has his henchmen. It's very much a grown-up version of Cesar Romero's Joker, who is one of my favorites. The classic kind of Ronald McDonald look to him from the 60s show. And, just kind of buzzer in my hand, but still a crime boss. And then there's one more. Oh, no, we talked about Jack Nicholson. Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's Joker is iconic to this point, and he's actually the one who plays the Joker in The Killing Joke when the Joker kills Robin and then gets the total hell beat out of him. So Mark Hamill turns into Jared Leto, and the internet goes crazy. But yes, I love the Joker, but I had a few thoughts on him there. So my number 2, we'll make a little switch. I'll bring one of my honorable mentions up from the bottom and throw him into the number 2 spot, and that is going to be Harley Quinn.
Who was your number 2?
My number 2 was going to be the Joker.
Ah.
So I'll take the Joker's sidekick in there, not because she's like some long running iconic character that she's turned into, but that was really halfway through my life before she was around. But she's adopted. She's in the Suicide Squad. She's a main character that DC focuses on. She's been portrayed by Lady Gaga, numerous others, and an overall a solid character for someone who can come out of Hey Mr. J out of the cartoon series with that god awful looking outfit and then turn into a pop culture icon that's one of the most popular villains for kids, 16 and under.
Oh yeah. So my number 2 was going to be the Riddler, and I'm going to say a little piece on him. He is my favorite Batman villain when you think of the most popular Batman villains, he's the top of the list for me. I feel like he is probably, more so than the Joker, a better fit to be Batman's number 1 adversary, because I feel like he fits the idea of what Batman was founded on. Detective Comics. You take the Riddler, he's like a combination, I would say, of Joker and Mad Hatter. He's got the batshit craziness from the Joker, except I think the Riddler's more of a sociopath than a psychopath. And then he's got the trickster vibes from Mad Hatter. I could see, like, if Batman was reimagined and they made a show that was more like a traditional, like, old school, almost like a Sin City feel, like detective show, I feel like the Riddler would be that perfect yin to Batman Jane. Love that character. Awesome. Favorite one of the Batman. But I'll do an honorable mention in my place too. I'm gonna say Gorilla Grodd. Do you know much about Gorilla Grodd?
Not at all.
So he's like a super huge, powerful ape. Like King Kong, except he's a genius. Like, can use telepathy to communicate level genius. You know what I mean? Like, very, very powerful enemy. And I always like that, just because he's not even a human or an alien. He's just a monkey.
He's like Professor X and Beast all in one.
Yep, pretty much.
All right. So one thing on the Riddler, Gotham, the way they portrayed him to become that adversary was very Sin City like. What is such a good show. I'm very sad that it didn't continue any further. My number 1, no surprise here. He's my all-time favorite villain. It's going to be the Penguin. The Penguin, classy, gangster vibe to him, perfect villain for someone like Batman. The name comes from him wearing the suits, and being high class. So I thought a lot of that was just very fitting for that universe. However, the portrayal that Tim Burton did with Danny DeVito was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
And I love the movie, but it lost the entire essence of what the Penguin was supposed to be. And I really hated that. Even though Danny DeVito is a great actor, and I still enjoy the movie, and I still like the movie, Penguin living in the sewers and being a deformed freak of nature was not necessarily the way that I think the Penguin was ever supposed to be portrayed. But hats off to Burgess Meredith, who portrayed the original Penguin in the 60s shows. Top hat. The reason I wanted to wear a monocle and still want to wear a monocle to this day, but I got 2 bad eyes. Shame I only just didn't have 1.
I mean, like, 2 characters that everybody thinks cool is the Penguin and Mr. Peanut. Okay.
They think Mr. Monopoly too, and then they realize that he never had a monocle.
Exactly. Ooh, Mandela effect.
Yes. So my number 1 would definitely be the Penguin.
Solid number 1. I actually really do like the Penguin. He's just not in my top 5, but a lot of love for the Penguin. My number 1 actually might throw people for a loop a little bit. I don't know. I'm sure you've probably heard of this character, but the Batman Who Laughs. Have you heard of this character?
I have not.
Terrifying. Very powerful, like almost deity level power. But it's like a mixture of Joker and Batman. Terrifying looking. Like has this huge smile. Like what's that monster from not Slender Man, but Crooked Man maybe, that has that weird huge smile. That's like how Batman Who Laughs is. He's got like the things coming up on his head like Batman. He's dark like Batman, but he's like kind of got little twisted hints of Joker. Like, man, like that's the kind of dark stuff I like out of Batman. Like stuff that just makes the hair on your arm stand up when you see the character. I think I have a figure of him. I don't think I have it out though. But yeah, you should look him up. He's awesome character.
We will have to do that. All right, so let's be. This one's going to be super easy. I think this is a pretty easy. But I'm going to throw my first one up on the Mount Rushmore, and I'm going to go with Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor has to be on the Mount Rushmore for DC villains.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I guess I will go ahead and throw the Joker up there. Joker also has to be on the Mount Rushmore. Those two, there's no way around it. They both have to be there.
Yeah. So we got two in place. So I'm going to pull from the one that we both agreed on. We both had the Riddler, and we both hold the Riddler in high regards. So we're going to have to throw the Riddler up there. So we got the Riddler, we got Lex Luthor, and we got the Joker. John, who takes the final spot on Aged in Geek's villain Mount Rushmore?
So I made my list based on my preferences, but I have to be fair to Mount Rushmore and make it for everybody. I don't think there's another fourth choice than the Penguin. It has to be the Penguin.
All right, I will accept that just because that is my favorite, and I will pay favoritism. So okay, let's do this. So if we got our villain Mount Rushmore, let's move that a little more. What if we took Lex Luthor off? Should it honestly be Catwoman? If you did a Batman villain Mount Rushmore, should it be the Riddler, Joker, Penguin, and Catwoman?
I think the only character that could possibly rival Catwoman would be Two-Face.
Oh, Two-Face would be good. He could take up 2 spots.
Oh,
he could be half the Mount Rushmore.
That's funny, but yeah, I mean, I would be fine with either one.
Use that as well, my number 4 and my number 3 pick, John.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I like this side of him, but I like this side of him a little better.
Yes. I could see, he's played such a large part in Batman since the 90s that I could almost slot him in over the Penguin. Because of that. But Penguin was so big in the animated series, in the original, the origins to Batman in the comics, I don't think you could. But Two-Face is one of the ones that I think could slot in there, and take off. So,
and I do, before we move off of it completely, want to give shout out to a character who didn't make any lists or Mount Rushmore's, but played a vital part in multiple actually DC characters kind of being as badass as they are. Ra's al Ghul.
That's a good one.
Ra's al Ghul trained Batman, trained Green Arrow, trained other people who were like lower level superheroes, but badass fighters, and Ra's al Ghul led the League of Assassins, and they really delved into the mystical arts, like magic and like resurrection and they were like the Night Sisters of DC. But that's kind of an awesome story there too for the listeners if you want to do some homework.
Yeah. And really well portrayed in the movies,
Yeah.
Really cool. So I did do this. I did ask Grok. So I did get some AI involved here, and I wanted it to search the internet and tell me out of all the superheroes, because I wanted to make a valid point on what I think DC's honestly missing here, and had it rank the most popular superheroes from DC from 1 to however long this list goes. and it pulled from 25 different web pages and 15 different various posts across the internet. This is also included rankers, 100 plus best of, comic book readers, 10 most popular, and social media statements on X and Rotten Tomatoes. So the criteria was based on comic book prominence, appearances on TV shows, movies, video games, and fan engagements on polls and social media. So this is on heroes. Number 1, Batman, most popular DC character.
I see that.
Number 2, Superman. Number 3, Wonder Woman. Number 4, The Flash. I think those 4 are pretty. If you ask me who the most 4, I probably would have said all 4 of them.
Yeah.
Definitely would have got the first 3.
Yeah.
Number 5 shocked me a lot. The number 5 most popular DC hero is Nightwing, Dick Grayson, the original Robin.
Yeah.
Totally see
Nightwing.
why.
I don't know why, but Nightwing was so much more badass than Robin. Like, maybe it was the outfit and the do-gooder, the Cape Crusader boy, like.
Right.
But when he became Nightwing,
Batman, I think that's what it was. It was acceptable because he wasn't, I'm the next Batman. He's, no, I'm Nightwing. I'm totally different.
Yeah.
Number 6, Aquaman.
That's weird because everybody hates on Aquaman so much. He gets made fun of more than any superhero there is.
But I think this will go to how our list is going to go from here on why he's at number 6. At least he's known.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, that's also a good selling point. Number 7 is Shazam. Number 8, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. Number 9, Supergirl. Number 10, Oliver Queen, Green Arrow.
Yeah, here's my boy, top 10.
11, Martian Manhunter.
John Jones.
Number 12, Batgirl / Oracle, Barbara Gordon.
Okay.
And a shout out to Jim Gordon. He was one of my honorable mentions as well. Jim Gordon.
Man, I will tell you, too, Arrowverse shows. They actually did Batgirl for Arrowverse as well. It only had like 2 or 3 seasons, but the first chick who played Batgirl was so good. That whole show, though, really captured that dark vibe of Gotham. Like, loved it. That was actually a really good show.
And which one's that again?
It was the Arrowverse one. It's just called Batgirl. But
okay. But it's okay. I thought you meant it was in Arrow, Green Arrow.
No, it wasn't in Arrow. Actually, I mean, they were in crossovers, but it was its own show within that universe.
Robin, Tim Drake, and Robin, Damian Wayne, taking 13 and 14. My boy Cyborg, number 15.
There you go.
Here's where I think the list just falls off. Number 16, Starfire. 17, Black Canary. 18, Hawkman. 19, Hawk Girl. 20, Black Lightning. 21, Zatanna. 22, Dr. Fate. 23, John Stewart, Green Lantern. 24, Wally West, The Flash. 25, Donna Troy, Wonder Girl. 26, Stargirl, Courtney Whitmore. 27, Big Barda. Mr. Miracle, Scott Free at 28. Cassandra Chin, Batgirl / Orphan, number 29. The Blue Beetle, ranked all the way to 30. That's Ted Cord. Blue Beetle, Jamie Reyes, 31. Booster Gold, Michael Carter, 32.
Booster Gold. Oh
Huntress, 33. Raven, 34, which Raven I think is a cool character.
Yeah.
35. Beast Boy is a pretty cool character too. I like all the Teen Titans. I think I do like the Teen Titans. Alan Scott, Green Lantern at 36, Wildcat 37, Power Girl 38, The Atom 39, Captain Atom 40, and we can go on and on. At this point, we're a bunch of names that all the people out there watching might know, but I know none of these.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that's the problem with DC. If you've done a similar list on Marvel, you're going to go through the top 50, and that's arguably going to be someone's favorite.
You know what I will tell you? Almost all those names you named, once you said this is where I think it drops off, are characters that got popular in Arrowverse shows.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. Like Black Canary, a lot of those. And then there was also several from the Teen Titans show that came out. Yeah, I think a majority of them were from Arrowverse shows, though.
So it makes you wonder if that will be where it'll transition, is going to be an age thing. Because all the Marvel characters were out were popular well before. I mean, you could go through X-Men and you're going to have a dozen in that top 50 just out of X-Men, not to mention everything else Marvel puts on. And I think that's just ultimately where Marvel has the edge. I think the characters are just a little more known. But if all those characters were out of like the Arrowverse and it's things we're going to see in James Gunn's universe moving forward. Another one we didn't even mention that didn't get an honorable mention is the Peacemaker. Yeah. Nobody gave a flying rat's ass about the Peacemaker till John Cena portrayed him on TV. And now it's like everybody loves the Peacemaker.
Yep.
And the dance on that is I didn't watch much past the first episode because some of the stuff in it, not necessarily my cup of tea. For having an 8-year-old running around the house, I thought it was a bit much. However, when that eagle hugs him when he gets out of jail, and his dad's like, oh, yeah, whatever. And he's like, oh, my God, it's the most amazing thing ever. Look at the eagle hugging me. That's a great scene.
Oh, yeah.
And the dance at the beginning is fantastic.
Why don't you show us, reenact it for us? Oh, yeah, there it is.
Pretty close. DC makes better video game crossovers into Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Because their characters are more real to life and what you would fight with. Yeah. Because the Joker has been in every Mortal Kombat since the first one he was in way back in the early 2000s. The Joker's become a mainstay in Mortal Kombat.
See, it's funny how the top of the list goes, kind of, because I think people would expect Superman to be at the top. And it's funny the people who prefer Superman over Batman or Batman over Superman, because they're two different types of fans. Like, fans have needs. You know what I mean? The fans of Superman are the ones that want to be more. Like, that want just, they long for something extra, something more grandeur than what's normal. The Batman fans like to be able to envision themselves, like, being able to fight crime. He's just a guy. He gained all those skills on his own. He has no special powers, no special abilities. So you're watching this guy do amazing things, but he's just a man. So I could do that. It's funny how they differ and how the popularity now has Batman over Superman.
And we got to tie this into Star Wars before we sign off here. But you set it up so perfectly. It's very much like in New Hope. You had the fans of Luke Skywalker, and then you had the fans of Han Solo. Everybody looked at golden boy who's destined for greatness and this up on a pedestal, whiny ass. And then you had Han Solo, gruff, gritty, the everyday man. He would be the Batman to Luke's super. Yes, exactly. I think he's a hit with the with the ladies. Got a great ship. He's got a Batmobile.
Yeah.
And I think the Falcon's a lot cooler than a Batmobile, but maybe
Batmobile's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. That's what's your favorite Batmobile? If you were to get one parked in your driveway, which version of the Batmobile do you want?
I mean, honestly, if I could have one, like, for practical reasons, like the Dark Knight style, that big freaking, like, I don't even know what it was. I would say military vehicle, but like that thing was like a tank, but it went fast. Like, that, I mean, I wouldn't turn that down for nothing. But I don't know. I like kind of like the real long. What is that, like a Coupe de Ville or whatever? Like the long looking car.
Oh,
like,
the one from the early
Yeah.
90s. Yes.
Yep.
Keaton's Batmobile.
I mean, that's
That
just
one
a
looks
good
good.
vehicle. Yeah.
My favorite Batmobile is the 60s. I love the old town car look with
Yep.
the bubble passengers, you know, and it's got the kind of the curved T-tops to
Oh
it.
man, I can already see you, Dwight. You like somebody park that car in front of your house. You go get in it, start it. You'd start driving, and as you're cruising down the road, you'd be like, no, 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 no,
No. 100%. I'd have it bumping in the face. No. That's one of my. There's two dream cars that I would love to have. Number 2 is that Batmobile.
What's number 1?
Number 1's the Ecto.
Uh,
1957 Cadillac Hearse.
There's other cool cars.
There are, but there's only one Ecto 1.
I mean, there's only one DeLorean too.
There's a lot of that particular car. Did you know there's only like 5 or 8 of that 57 Hearse that were ever made?
Really? I didn't.
That particular model car that Dan Aykroyd picked for the film, there was only a handful made, and there's only a couple that are even in existence that are like the actual model.
Yeah.
So
you wouldn't
a rare piece.
You wouldn't want like Flintstones car?
I would like a Flintstones, but I would take the Ecto 1 over everything.
Yeah.
Jerry Lawler has a replica of the 60s Batman car that he drives around.
Oh, a mystery machine would be cool too.
Oh yeah, that would be. As long as it comes with the smoke.
And honestly, Jetson's car would be cool. I mean, you could fly. Like,
there's a lot of really cool cars out there.
There is.
You know whose car sucks? Wonder Woman's.
I thought you were going to say Kurt Angle's.
It's his car sucks too. Wonder Woman's car sucks.
Yeah, because
you like to have tinted windows for a reason, let alone the whole thing. You can see right through it.
I mean, how do you figure out where you parked at Walmart?
Right? How many wrecks do you get into? Somebody tries to pull into the spot.
Exactly. How do you know if you got in a wreck?
You don't even know if you got a scratch on it. They're like, oh, it'll buff right out.
Yep. Uh-oh. I know what that means. Well, folks.
All right, folks, that's it. The glasses are empty and the show is over. We thank you so much for tuning in to Aged and Geek. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Join our Facebook group where you get all kinds of wonderful geeky content put out there by John and a few other members of the group who like to post daily. From there, you can join our Facebook page, which has all the information you need to know for Aged and Geek. Like us on YouTube, subscribe, and may the fandom be with you.
Always.